everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is HauteLeMode, and here on HauteLeMode we are doing a part 2 to our TikTok Front Row at Different Designer Fashion Show reaction experience extravaganza, good times, yada yada. I don't even know what this is at this point. There were so many good ones that I think it's actually kind of important that we get to them and look at them as well. So with that, as you probably know by this point, the rules are we are judging these based solely on whether or not the participants and or creators are actually creating looks that have the same aesthetic and style and historical standpoints as the brands that they would be sitting front row at. It's not about whether or not I personally like the outfit, although if I like an outfit enough, I'll give it a pass, but it's really about whether or not they're channeling the brand's tropes and sort of signatures instead of just whether or not the outfit looks good. So with that, let's just get right into it. And yes, I'm wearing my same Prada look because like I'm not turning two different looks, okay? So be grateful. First up is Neva Rose, aka the Neva Rose. Oh, okay, Gucci. Chanel, all right, I see it. Fendi, okay, all right. Okay, let's do it. The Gucci, I'm seeing it. I'm getting that sort of gauche pink with the green underneath. I think the pants with the loafers and the Gucci socks all sort of ties into that like ugly, granny chic style that Gucci has. So like, yes, I'm seeing it. Chanel, I'm a little bit less seeing, but when I look at that top with the little collar and the black little bow and the short little skirt and the socks and the little black pumps, I see it, I get it. Although I think there could have been like a little bit more tweed in there. Okay, Fendi. I personally at first was like, ugh, but when I see the Fendi logo, you say, okay, it's Fendi. But I do think that when you add on that fur jacket, it sort of brings in that Fendi-ness, the Fendi fur. It's a signature of the brand. The brand literally was started as a fur house. So in that way, like, points are made, most definitely. I do think fur coats that are a little bit more fun and funky and out there are much more Fendi, but Karl Lagerfeld always said that he did really enjoy a beautiful sable and or ermine, so fine. I do think though that the little black bandeau and the orange sort of top ties in with the glasses, which then sort of brings it all together, you know, all right, I'm seeing it. The Versace, yeah, it's sexy. It has that sort of Miss S&M sort of collection, which was one of the iconic Versace collections. I think the fact that you have these sort of lace-up boots with the long gloves, this short sort of skirt, and it's tight, and then there's the little sort of gold chain belt and like a gold earring that's across. It all sort of ties in that Versace sexiness. So honestly, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 4. Next up is Maria Posabi. Let's see. Okay, some Fendi action. Gooch. Okay, the Chanel. So we have the Fendi sort of logo pants in green, which that's not really a color I associate with Fendi, but as I just mentioned, the fact that there is sort of this like funness going on, which Karl Lagerfeld did say when he created the Fendi logo, the F was for Fendi and then the other F was for fun. So in that way, I do think the green sort of makes sense. I like that it's tied in with the little bandeau top and that sort of cutout sleeveless sweater. So I don't really know how to describe them. I own one of these sweaters where it just has sleeves and like a turtleneck, but there's no actual torso to the sweater. I don't really know if there's a name for them. So I think that ties into the glove, but I do think we should have implemented a fur here. I think that with Fendi, even if it's a faux, because Fendi does make faux furs, it does, not, you know, usually, but it does make faux fur. I feel like that's important to bring into a Fendi look. I'm not really getting Gucci vibes from this. Like, yes, we have the socks, and that's okay, and you know, I'm seeing the sock moment, but I don't really think the dress top and the hat is sort of doing what we need from Gucci. It's not really giving Tom Ford Gucci, it's not giving Frida, and it's certainly not giving Alessandro, so not sold. Oh, the Chanel. Okay, with the Chanel, I'm seeing like the 90s influence on that little, you know, bikini bra top with the plaid pants, and like the Chanel belt is there, and that's very Chanel. I'm not understanding necessarily like the bucket hat and the gigantic poofy sleeve shirt. I'm not picking up what we're putting down here. So I'm gonna give this a solid 3 out of 4. All right, next up is Emmanuel Udenberg, which is a great name, just like solid. Okay. Balenciaga, all right, I'm seeing the oversized. The coupe, okay. Sandro. Oh, I don't like that. Balenciaga, I actually really like. I think that it sort of incorporates more of the menswear sort of Martine Rose aspect of Balenciaga, but I do think there seems to be this oversized sort of silhouette, a big sort of gray coat. I think that it's pretty much channeling what the modern Balenciaga wearer is wearing. I wouldn't say that it's, you know, crazy, ridiculous Cristobal Balenciaga haute couture, and I wouldn't say it's, you know, over the top runway aspect of Demna Gvasalia, but I do think that it brings in more of like the menswear sort of aspect of Martine Rose and Demna's work. So I'm sold on that one. I wouldn't consider the Kooples a brand that has a fashion show, because I don't think I've ever heard of the Kooples having a fashion show, and if they did, you know how people like protest against fur at certain brands? I'd protest outside of the Kooples. We shouldn't be having a fashion show. We should not be wasting budget on this. It's ripped skinny jeans, black boots, and a black moto jacket. I see it. And Sandro, we're wearing an Alexander McQueen sneak and then sort of basic plaid coat, pant, and a great turtleneck. And like, again, Sandro should not have a fashion show ever. I don't think they do, but if they did, they shouldn't. But again, like, this seems very on brand for Sandro as well. It's just bad knockoffs of other people's work. I have to give this a 3 out of 3 because each of the brands were pretty accurate, but I wouldn't consider Sandro and or the Kooples brands in the sense we've been discussing. So Emmanuel is coming back to us with a part 2. I do love that last name, Udenberg. Oh, the Prada. Okay, all right, I'm seeing it. Acne, Louis Vuitton. All right, let's do this one too. Prada, yeah, I get it. I see it. It's sort of that minimal sort of style. We can like go back to fall 2020 menswear if that's what we really want to do. And like, maybe it was spring 2020 or spring 2021. I don't remember. But whatever it was, that collection, I can see it. A pass is given. Acne is very simple, but I think Acne in recent years has sort of stopped being as sort of Nutter Butters as it used to be. And now it's much more about really simplistic sort of pieces. I think that this is a little bit too simplistic for Acne, but like it is passable. The Louis Vuitton, the puffer jacket is there, and besides the black bag, I wouldn't be really getting any Louis Vuitton out of this. I know that I said before puffer jacket was good, but I thought the brown leather puffer jacket felt more Virgil or Kim Jonesy, but this to me seems very, you could apply this to a bunch of different brands. Like if you said this was Moncler, I'd believe it. So here, I'm gonna give this a solid 2 out of 3. Next up is Issa Bella Ricci. Okay, Betsy. Okay, with the platforms. Miu Miu. Okay, I'm seeing it. The Rodarte is good. The Rodarte is, oh, okay, Anna Sui. Okay, I like this. I like when people do brands that aren't just like the Gucci's, the Louis Vuittons, or the Pradas. Unless you're doing it really, really well, like referencing great collections of, you know, past years, it can get a little bit stale. But I think when you're doing interesting brands that are less talked about, like earlier we had Mary Quant, you know, Betsy Johnson, Miu Miu, Anna Sui, it like makes it much more fun and much more interesting. So let's review. The Betsy, I'm sold on. I think it's very like shishi, pretty. It could be a little bit crazier. It could be a little bit nuttier, but the platform shoes are really like selling me on it and I will take it. The Miu Miu, I'm not completely sold on the Miu Miu. I'm not. I just think the skirt is a little bit too Xenon Princess Warrior, and the top, well, yes, there is some like cutesy tootsy sort of elements to it. I'm not completely sold. The shoes, the socks with the sandal heels, that is very Miu Miu, so, you know, respect there. The Rodarte is fantastic. The tiers of skirt here, I think, is chef's kiss, beautiful, stunning, wonderful, magical, gorgeous, amazing, fantastic. I think the little see-through top and little cami underneath, I just think it works out really, really well. I'm a stan. Honestly, I will take this as well. I think Anna Sui is great for a floral. I do think we love that. I like the platform sort of shoes. It gives that very like late 80s, early 90s sort of feel to it. I'm down. All things considered, I'm gonna go 3 out of 4. The Miu Miu threw me off a little bit. It threw me off. Next up is High Fashion Hottie. This is one of my favorites, my personal faves. So good, so good, so good. Okay, so good. Okay, so good. Okay, you can't deny that that was not fantastic. I love this. It's out of the box, weirdo, crochet short, blouse with a vest, a red tight with leather leg harnesses and like clunky black loafers. If that is not something that you would see literally on an Alessandro Michele Gucci runway, I don't know what is, so sold. The Comme des Garçons, I think it's very Rei Kawakubo. It's ridiculous shape. There's so much pleat in that. Ruffle, bib, the fishnets brings in that element of grunge, which Rei Kawakubo sort of definitely took from, you know, British punk styles. The face mask I'm less sold on, but like, I'll take it for what it is, and overall, again, obsessed. Loewe is giving me very like Mad Hatter in the 1970s, and like I do think that that is sort of an element of Loewe-esque. I wouldn't say it has like the shape and sort of ridiculous grandeur of silhouette that I think recent Loewe definitely does channel, but I do think it has this sort of boho feel to it. It is a little bit kooky, it's a little bit out there, it's a little bit strange, and yet it's still wearable, so like I'm sold on that as well. The Prada, it's the sleeves with the crazy shirt underneath, with the fact that the shirt underneath the jacket doesn't necessarily match the sleeves, and the pants with the loafers. Yes, overall, 4 out of 4. This is great, this is stunning, this is wonderful. I am a stan. Okay, next up is Black Japan. Okay, the Dior is good. The Dior is very good. The Gucci is great. Okay, Blend, oh, I like this. Okay, Louis Vuitton. So Dior, selling it. Absolutely sold. I think the fact that you have this sort of full sheer dress underneath, this sort of white crop top sort of style with a big old belt and the Dior monogram everywhere, that is Maria Grazia as fuck. I think it's channeling it very, very well. Brilliant. Gucci, again, I think that it actually works pretty well. You have babushka, you have crazy sort of big sunglasses. I'm not sold on the little, you know, fanny pack because like I just personally don't love it, but I think the fact that you have a blazer with these sort of crazy pants and then, you know, the Alessandro Michele signature shoes and bag sort of all work together. This is what I mean of that you can have the monogram pieces in there and they can contribute to the look, but I think the fashion actually has to be a large part of that experience. You can't just, you know, rely on a monogram to sell me on whether or not it actually is this brand. The Balenciaga, I think is great. I feel like this is weird corporate Balenciaga strangeness. I like the fact that you have this sort of crazy shirt with a simple black slack. You have a take on those beautiful sort of knife boot that is like a full sort of a lycra heel, sometimes knee-high, sometimes like calf-length boot. Honestly, I think it definitely gives like the matrixy vibes, which I think is very Balenciaga. The Louis Vuitton, I will say, I think it's a bit heavy on the monogram in terms of like here. I feel like we don't really get a lot of monogram. I feel like this is less from like the actual brand, and I feel like it's more people's interpretations of the brand. So in that regard, I'm not completely sold, but I think that when you add this little hat, I don't know why it reminds me of vacationing, and I think that Louis Vuitton is a brand that's all about sort of vacationing and going on trips and traveling and all of that sort of realm. And I feel like that is the reason that I'm kind of being sold a little bit on this look. But overall, I'm gonna give this a solid 3 out of 4, possibly 4 out of 4, because this was killed. This was destroyed. This was, the ashes don't exist anymore. We smashed them. It was that loved. Next up is Hayden D John. Okay, the Burberry, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Margiela, okay, simple, minimal. Rick Owens, yeah. The Alyx, I don't know anything about Alyx. Burberry, I think this works. I think this gives me like old British gentleman sort of vibes. I don't think it's really like modern Burberry by Riccardo Tisci, but I do think that this most definitely like channels my grandfather when he was like 25. And yeah, okay, it's very old British man. Got it. The Margiela, we have a tabby, which a brand signature. And I think the fact that you do have a sort of simple black shirt and black pant makes sense. Although I do wish there was a little bit of deconstruction going on. Like if we had a little bit of like a ripped hem or like a slash somewhere on the sweater or in the pant, I feel like that really could have made it. So Margiela, I think if you took away the tabby, we'd be a little bit lost in the sauce. But because we have the tabby, we understand it's Margiela. The Rick Owens, I feel like that low sort of scoopy neckline is very Rick Owens. It's just sort of what he goes for. And the pants, the man does like a wide sort of strange fitted pant as well. The boots are the only thing that I'm sort of not completely sold on, but besides that, it does feel very Rick. Alyx, this feels like I have to give it to him because like I don't know necessarily like the Alyx person. It's also not like the worst outfit I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm gonna give this full extravaganza, I have to give it a 4 out of 4. So that's pretty solid. I'm pretty happy there. Next up is Mo Black X. Okay, Burberry. Gucci, okay. Rodarte. See, I like when you get like the odd brand out there. I feel like that's really fun. Okay, so let's review, let's recount. Burberry. It's a little bit plain for me for Burbs, but at the same time, like it's a Burberry plaid dress with some sort of jacket over it. I'm not understanding the headband. I don't know where she's coming in. I feel like she's a little bit out of the box here. I'm not getting her. I'm questioning her existence in this context. Gucci, I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing more like Frida Giannini Gucci than I am seeing Alessandra Michele Gucci. And so in that regard, I can see it, but at the same time, unless it said Gucci on there, I would never think of Frida Giannini Gucci. So that's a toughie. A Rodarte. I am a stan. I'm going to stand because I am a stan. This is great. I love this. The floral sort of top, the beautiful tiered skirt. I like it. I think it screams Rodarte. It's very solid. I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 3. Next up is Wisdom, who's like the fashion TikTok king. So Saint Laurent, Gucci. Okay, the Rick Owens is so good. Okay, Prada. The Saint Laurent is like there. It does sort of have that skinny pant vibe. You have a boot with a heel, sort of simple top and a black jacket. Like, yeah, it's pretty Saint Laurent mensweary. This is very Gucci. It like doesn't really make a lot of sense except in the concept and context of it being Alessandra Michele's Gucci. I love that sweater. It is very hot. It is very sexy. I like the wide leg corduroys. Very cute. The loaf is there and some sort of printed shirt underneath. Yeah, got it. The way I am jealous of this man's collection of Rick Owens heels is, I can't describe it. The boots, sold, already won. And I think the fact that you have a sort of black Rick Owen up the zip pant. The blue, I do think Rick has incorporated in recent collections more color, and then the sunglasses I think really sort of sell it and bring it straight home. So yes. The Prada, again, I know that a lot of people have sort of done the real like nylon sort of Prada moment. It seems very overdone, but I will say this to me reminds me more of like Frank Ocean's camp Prada look, and then Timothée Chalamet did a version of that Prada look. So I feel like that's what this is channeling, and then I get it, I understand it, it's there, it's very sort of Prada-y. 4 out of 4. Solid, very solid, but I wasn't expecting any less than that. Next up is Miam Marquez. Okay, okay, yeah, I love the Westwood. Okay, the Thierry Mugler is good. Okay, the McQueen is solid. The Westwood has the corset. That is a straight up iconic Vivienne Westwood aspect. I do think the plaid sort of brings in the punk aspect. Vivienne Westwood World's End store, or it's called The World's End. It was a store that was brought around in the early 1970s and sort of was a very big sort of aspect of punk in London and sort of helped to bring it around. So that sort of punky plaid in a dark sort of color definitely makes sense. I do think that there is a flowiness of this dress, which I think helps sort of ties it together, and you have these big black knee-high platform boots which feel punky Brewster. The Mugler. I love. You get a corset and you do go sort of mugler. I like the fact that this jacket is sort of cropped and allows the corset to take its toll. And then you have a sort of interesting fitted pant with some sort of interesting flare at the end that's sort of ruffled. It's good. I do think, no, you know what? The bustier is there. I'll take that. And the McQueen, I love. I love a black lace. I love a heavy black leather boot. I like the fact that we have a corset going on and there's sort of sheerness to it. That feels very McQueen to me. So honestly, 3 out of 3. Very solid. Very much so. A fan. Finally, we have Adora official music. Okay, Prada, I'm seeing. Gucci, yeah. Saint Laurent, okay. The Versace, okay. Prada, there's leather involved, it's all black. I do think it's a little bit reductive of Prada, but it makes sense. I can see the minimal sort of Prada-isms. Gucci, the person on the right with the crazy, full, sort of extravagant look, yes. I think the green vest with the chartreuse and pink button down with the slacks and the loafs and the hat and the glasses, yeah, I got it. On the left, I'm not sold on this. I see where we're going with the top, but the pants and the tabby boots, I'm not understanding. I think it's hard to go full Gooch when you got a tabby boot on. And I'm not saying that you have to wear a Gucci loafer with a horse bit. That's not what, there's not a requirement there. But I do think that it totally changes the experience of the moment. Although, points for the pearl necklace. Saint Laurent on the right, sold. Love it. Gorgeous. Very Anthony Vaccarello Saint Laurent. On the left, also pretty Anthony Vaccarello Saint Laurent. It's not too crazy. It's not too ridiculous. I like the little, you know, neckerchief. I do think that it definitely works and brings a sort of 70s flair to it. It's like if Fred from Scooby-Doo was into BDSM. I'm sold. Versace, no. I see what's going on with this t-shirt that's sort of in that like Baroque sort of meandering vine and gold style with the black leather pants and the black boots. I can see that. Like that I will 100% be about. As for the right, with the tie, the white dress, and then the socks with the peep toe, I'm not understanding her. I don't know her. She's not a Versace woman. No. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 4 because out of the 8 looks, we had like 6 pretty solid ones. So that is the end of our review. So if there's anybody that you particularly loved, look for them in the description box below. We will link all of their TikToks there. So if you saw anybody or you were like, oh my God, I love them, you can find them there. Also, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video and TTYL.